So UFC Fight Night in London, England, United Kingdom, London, in the O2 Arena stars Lauren Murphy versus Movsar Evlev, and I'm going to go through most, if not all, of the fights on the card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving just my prediction and breakdown. First up, we got Melissa Mullins versus Luina Carolina. I got Luina Carolina in this one, although she does have the worst record. She does have more of a prowess in her stand-up compared to Melissa Mullins. Not to mention she has a lot of advantages in the clinch and some on the ground. The only thing I do worry about is the home advantage with Melissa being from England. The jet lag and also it being at an inopportune time, I think will benefit most of the British fighters. I'll get to that in the main event. But it really helps out knowing that it's going to be at 12 my time, or like 4 to 5 hours before what it should be. So I feel like Melissa Mullins, although she's going to be used to it, she doesn't have the stand-up prowess and the technical clinch to be able to go the full 3 rounds. So I think it's going to be Luina Carolina by decision, 29-28, as most women's bantamweight fights go. Next up, we got the debut of Chanel Dyer versus Revena Oliveira. I got Revena Oliveira on this one. She, once again, just has more of a record on her prowess, on her, a resume, whereas Dyer doesn't exactly know what she's doing. She is a bit taller for the division, especially for strawweight. I think that 5'6" with a 65-inch reach is incredible for that weight division. But once again, just like the earlier fight, I feel like she's not going to be ready for the moment, especially a 3-round fight. So I think that Revena Oliveira is actually going to be able to put her power and her stamina up to the test for the first 2 rounds and then get it done in the 3rd round by TKO. Next up, we got Shamrock versus Abdul Karim Al-Sadaway. I got Shamrock in this one. Both are really good fighters. It's a very interesting fight. Only 3 fights up on the card. Shamrock, one of the teammates-ish of Luke Riley. Although they don't train in the same gym, they have been compared to each other. Shamrock, one of the lesser of the two, hence why he's only the 3rd fight on the card. But I feel like he's going to be able to go through Abdul Karim pretty easily. 15-4, he's had a couple of really good wins up against some good prospects, but hasn't really been able to get it done to the point where he's been able to go into the top 15, whereas I think that Shamrock has the potential to get to top 15. Top 5, no, but top 15, maybe. So I think Shamrock's going to get this done, 2nd round TKO. Next up, we got Brando Petrick versus Louis Sutherland. I got Louis Sutherland on this one. I know it's going to be a little controversial to some people, but I feel as though he is ready for the moment, and I feel like being the smaller man in this weight division is actually a benefit. Him only being 6'3" at 265 and having a 3-inch disadvantage, although on paper doesn't seem like the best, I feel as though he is more built into the heavyweight division, whereas Brando is more, he eats on the off season and then comes in to fight. So I think that it's going to be Louis Sutherland by decision. I think it's going to be not a very interesting fight. I don't really think this card's going to be very interesting in general, up until probably the main event. But I feel as though this one's going to be a very low output fight after 2 rounds, and it's going to go 29-28, 30-27, Louis Sutherland. Next up, Antonio Tricoli versus Montas Condravit. I don't know how to do this name, but either way, I will say they're once again just feeding Tricoli up to a prospect that they're putting up on his debut. One of the very few fighters fighting from Lithuania. I feel like they're really trying to put him up. Tricoli was the same person that I believe went up against Edmund Shabazian, or the one-eyed fighter from Sharipov, and was basically just standing there for the entirety of the fight, basically just getting hit. So I feel as though they're basically feeding him up to the up-and-comers. I think that he's going to get it done. First round KO by Montes, getting him up and easy into an easier fight like Edmund Shabazian or somebody that they're really going to build his name up, get him into the top 15, and try to see what he can do. Next up, we got Mario Pinto versus Felipe Franco. Felipe Franco coming off of the, I believe, Dana White Contender Series with his debut. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be getting it done up against Mario Pinto. I feel Mario Pinto is way too good for the division. He's very long for the division. And not to mention Felipe Franco coming up from light heavyweight, usually walking around 235, 245. Mario Pinto walking around 246 the entirety of the time. I feel as though most people would say that the lighter man's skill is going to beat Mario Pinto in this. I feel as though the height aspect and the reach aspect of Mario Pinto is really going to work out in the first 2 rounds, which is going to put out Felipe Franco in the first 2 rounds. Next up, we got the debut in the UFC, I believe, with Locens Guieta versus Nathaniel Wood. I got Locens Guieta. He has absolutely powerful striking, knocked out most of the opponents, I will say, in the regional scene, but has been able to put up very astounding performances nonetheless. Whereas Nathaniel Wood, 22-6, he has had some very good wins against some very good prospects, some very good top 15 competition. I feel like he's not going to be ready for the presence. Not the presence, but the pressure of Guieta. His hooks, his high kicks, his front kicks, everything is just snappy. It's straight to the point. It's powerful. It almost has like a Muay Thai background, but almost Rod Tang Muay Thai, where it's very aggressive. It leaves a lot of openings, but if it lands and it lands clean, it's done for the night. One thing I will say that is a very big factor in this is that usually he fights at 150, 149, 150, whereas he has to cut the extra 4 pounds. I don't know if that's going to make a difference in the fight, especially with his cardio. He's usually a 1 to 2 round fighter, hasn't really seen a decision very much. Whereas Nathaniel Wood is more of a crafty veteran, able to go through the 3 rounds easily, has been able to multiple times, won by decision. I feel as though he's just not ready for the absolute power that's coming his way from Guieta. So I think it's going to be Guieta KO first round in this one. And then to end off the prelims, we got Mason Jones versus Alex Sola. I do feel as though they're going to have Alex Sola the favorite in this one. But in this, I'm going to actually go Mason Jones in this one. Alex Sola 11-0 with 1 no contest, or 1 draw. Very good fighter, but coming down from 170, I don't know how he's going to be with the cardio. I will say I haven't seen much of either of these fighters, but I will say if I had to go either, I'd go the one that's more naturally his weight class, especially being in the UK at that point. So I'm going to go Mason Jones in this one. Decision 29-28. All right, starting out the main card, we got Curtis Campbell and Danny Silva. Honestly, I think that they're trying to give Danny Silva an easy win in this one. I mean, I have to be honest. Like, this does not look like a fighter. This looks like a very pressure fighter. Doesn't throw a lot of power. Throws a lot of 1-2s, pawing shots. But who knows? Maybe he could do something. He does have a little bit of a reach advantage and a leg reach advantage. But I think that Danny Silva is going to be able to get this done. Knockout 3rd round. Then we got Christian Leroy Duncan versus Roman Dolidze. I think that they're going to be wanting Christian Leroy Duncan to be getting a win in this one, coming from the United Kingdom. I think he's going to be getting this one done. KO 2nd round. Roman Dolidze, although a veteran in the sport, has been knocked out multiple times, submitted a couple of times. He's shown a little bit of vulnerability in his game, and I feel like Christian Leroy Duncan's going to be able to use his physicality in order to win the fight. So I think it's going to be KO, Christian Leroy Duncan, 2nd round. Next up, Austin Lane, Iro Baranowski. Austin Lane coming down from 265 to 205 in his debut. I think that Aro Baranowski is going to be winning this one. This one is the one where lighter man's skill really does make a difference. Although 6'6", he does have to cut down to 205, which I think is going to be really hard on the gas tank, especially going 5 rounds. And the other thing we have to think about is the reach advantage is not as substantial as people think it is. For 6 inches of height, I feel like there should be at least 8 to 12 inches of reach advantage in the fight. Now, I will say Austin Lane does have a lot of physicality with the way that he fights, but with that, it drains a lot of energy, whereas Baranowski has been known to go multiple rounds throwing shots using his head movement. So I think that Iwo Baranowski is going to be getting this one done KO first round. Oof, and now we got the interesting fight, the one that I'm the most anticipated in, Michael Venom Page going up against the up-and-comer Sam Patterson. Now, Michael Venom Page has been going in between welterweight and middleweight ever since he's come from Bellator, and has put on very fun fights, but I feel the UFC does not like that. That's why they're giving him the up-and-comer Sam Patterson, but I feel as though it's not going to be enough. I feel Michael Venom Page is still going to be able to use his Taekwondo skills to be able to keep at range, pot his shots for 3 rounds, and be able to win by decision on this one. The only way I can see Sam Patterson winning this one is by chaining a head kick combination as Michael Venom Page is coming out of range, because he does like to keep his hands down, and Sam Patterson does have a mean head kick whenever he commits to it from his straight. So, but I feel as though that's a 1 in a million shot that's going to happen, especially up against a Taekwondo, I think 3rd degree black belt, or at least black belt in Taekwondo, in Michael Venom Page, and I think he's going to be getting this one done decision 30-27. Next up, the co-main event. We got Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell Jr. I feel that Luke Riley's going to be getting this one done in a firefight, all 3 rounds. I think he's going to be getting this one done by decision. Him being in his hometown, he's a very emotional fighter, somebody that as soon as he fights in his hometown or somewhere near his hometown, he feels the energy, he feels the pressure, and he thrives in the pressure. Whereas Michael Aswell Jr. is somebody that, although very good by his record, it has been padded by a couple of okay fighters. You know, a win against Thomas Almeida, and then one against Oki. I mean, it's all right. It's an all right resume. But they're really just trying to feed Luke Riley somebody good in this. And I feel like he's going to be getting this one done 1st or 2nd round KO. And now for the main event, we got Lerone Murphy versus Movsar Evloev. Some would say the number 1 contenders fight, but people have also been saying that Jean Silva is looking to jump the line and fight Alexander Volkanovski for his title. But either way, with this fight, Movsar Evloev not fighting in the past, I think year and a half. Lerone Murphy brutally finishing the Bellator fighter Aaron Pico with a spinning elbow. 1 out of the 2 in the 1 card, which was absolutely crazy to see. Both undefeated-ish fighters. Lerone Murphy does have that 1 draw. But both coming off of wins. I think Movsar Evloev is going to be able to get this done. Although he does have a heavy grappling style, he does use his striking in order to get inside of that range. And from there, ride the fence, be able to use his dominant positions, and honestly his heavy hips. Even though he might be 5'7" at 145, he does carry a lot of weight. As soon as he gets off of the scale, he rehydrates. He goes up to 170, I think, 175. Which is a 30-pound increase within 24 hours. Whereas Lerone Murphy walks around 155, 160, cuts to 146, and then comes back up. So I think that over the course of 5 rounds, it's going to go more towards the grappler's advantage, Movsar Evloev, as long as he can get to the hips. If Lerone Murphy can keep on a strong sprawl throughout those 5 rounds, he can pot his shots and wins by a unanimous decision, 29-28, maybe even 30-27, or not 29-28, like by a unanimous decision, by winning 1 or 2 rounds off of his jab. Whereas Movsar Evloev, if it's going to be a win, it's going to be dominant over 5 rounds. So in this, I'm going to be going Movsar Evloev by decision, 50-45 in this. I think it's going to be a 5-round domination for Movsar Evloev. He's going to get most of his takedowns up against the cage, be able to pressure Laurel Murphy, and I think he's going to be getting this one done. So this is my breakdown of the entirety of the card. I'll come out later on tonight and talk about the Netflix card that's actually coming out in a couple of months. Other than that, I guess I'll get you in the next one. Peace.